Well, let's get this over with.
Patch of Heaven, where the animals aren't just featuring new music from the composer of The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, and songs performed by Katie Lang, Bonnie Raitt, and Tim. Alameda Slim, just one more purchase and the whole dang territory belongs to me.
Yeah.
Luckily, I got it. They have a plan.
We go nab that Alameda Slim and use the reward money to
They taking stupid.
Okay, enough of that. Let's get this over with. Home on the Range. As you can tell from my voice, I am not thrilled about talking about this movie at all. When I was younger, I liked this movie, but since I'm older now, I can see why people oh dislike or like this movie for a reason. And I can see why they would not put this in Kingdom Hearts crossover video game because you want to see Sora turn into a cow. Nobody, that's who. Anyways, Home on the Range. Here in the heavens. Home on the Range. Please stop doing that. It's a simple story about cows want to save their farm from an evil, dastardly villain named Alameda Slam, and who disguised himself as a businessman, and he takes revenge. It's like they did not appreciate his talent of singing. That's what makes him a bad guy. There's obvious reasons I don't want to talk about this movie because the animation is similar to almost like The Emperor's New Groove. Plus, the word home on the range is similar to that old 1935 movie. Plus, Alameda Slam sings a song that hypnotizes the cow, and this is very similar to a Pied Piper that plays music. Well, some mice, and people refuse to offer him some money and or children to the river to the robbery grave, which just sounds pretty messed up. But did the opposite of it. All sorts of things such as that. Anyways, the movie Home on the Range is just about three cows how to save their farm from a dastardly villain, along with his cousins, Sam and the Lilies. This movie is only like an hour and 10 minutes. Well, hour and 20 minutes. It's in have a Notch's horse named Buck. It has lots of burping jokes in it. And I kid you not, they actually did a Game Boy Advance based off this movie. I shit you not, it existed. That Disney's Home on the Range has a little bit of character development. I mean, I'm not gonna talk about the whole entire movie. You have to watch this scene for yourself. That Grace is the deaf cow that hardly hears anything, voiced by Jennifer Tilly, her sweetness and voice. Caraway is the one that leads the farm, and with the leader of all cows. Z is the biggest cow of them all, that's stronger and smarter. Oh yeah, there's like this thing about Caraway of someone knocking down her head, she gets mad. That's pretty easy. Oh yeah, there's this rabbit who's unlucky all the time. Home on the Range is just about a movie about them that went an evil young cowboy that took in Etsy's own family. He has all the cattle, doesn't make money off them. And by a short guy you just saw not too long ago, basically a guy in a purple suit. And a right, oh man, spoiler alert, is Rico Hunsaw that worked with Alameda Slam the whole time. I used to watch this movie a lot as a kid, but now I'm like, it's not Disney's best movie out there. Or the animation doesn't look awful. Well, it's not the worst, but they tried their best to make this movie interesting. Because the early 2000s were almost a huge letdown when they were doing movie sequels like Bambi 2 or the other ones. Heck, I already talked about Tarzan 2, so I am not gonna re-talk about it ever again. And yet Home on the Range is on the ranks of other forgotten Disney movies that were made a long time ago. But I'll give Home on the Range some credit. On the DVD, it has some funny shorts in it, so you have to look them up for yourself. So it's kind of unfortunate that Disney's Home on the Range is not one of my favorite slice of cakes of not just character like him being annoying with center attention and gets hyperactive speed. But at least it has an interesting farmer lady, which I forgot what her name is, and there's the other farmer animals, which I kind of forgot they were a thing in the film, so they barely get screen time. Even there's like pigs, a goat who's angry all the time. Even we got more screen time with the characters. There's the adorable little chicks. And that's pretty much all I can say about most of the characters that had a little bit of screen time, but there's not much else to say about them. Home on the Range has like 52% on Rotten Tomatoes. And some extra scenes. But spoiler alert, that Alameda Slam does it for a reason to own those dirt farms so he can become the president. Which kind of explains why he does it for a reason. I would say Home on the Range is not one of my most favorite Disney movies of all time, but it gets there to some other long-forgotten history films of all time. Heck, this movie's already gonna be 20 years old. But it does have some interesting factors of songs. The only song I like about this movie is Anytime You Need a Friend. I used to play that a lot when I was younger, so it has redeeming factor about it. Oh, and Mia Slam has a big, huge buffalo which he names Junior, but sadly the actor who played him passed away a long time ago. But does a pretty good voice acting. Think of some characters that you either find interesting or annoying to hear. But they try their best to make it interesting most of cast. But Home on the Range is still not one of my favorite ones. If it wasn't and the famous actor Jennifer Tilly voicing Grace. It's not one of Disney's awfulest films I ever had to talk about, but it gets close to being slightly being mediocre at best. So I would give this movie a solid chance. I'd give it like a 3 out of 10 if it didn't have extra scenes in it on DVD. Ignore that. So, Home on the Range is not one of my favorite films, but it's just, like I said, mediocre or animated film of all time. If you like it, then good for you. This film deserves to be left forgotten with the other films of being one of the least interesting ones of all time. So like I said before, I don't want to show any clips from the film or play songs. Don't want to get copyrighted. Blah 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 blah, you know the rest. I'll see you in the next Disney review. Alright, bye.